The Last of Us Part 1 is a third-person action-adventure game that is played using a number of various weapons that may be employed equally in combat against infected non-player characters and humans. The game is played from the viewpoint of the third person. If you want to stay alive and escape from these messy situations, you should be fast on your feet. This is particularly important if you do not want to see Ellie or Joel being ruthlessly slain. Because of this, our Last of Us Part 1 Best Weapons Guide video includes a list of firearms that you should have in your arsenal. There are 4 distinct pistols and secondary weapons available to use in the Last of Us story mode: the 9mm pistol, the Revolver, the El Diablo, and the Shorty. The hunting rifle, shotgun, bow, flamethrower, military sniper rifle, and assault rifle are the 6 long firearms that may be used as major weapons in this game. Players will also find melee weapons such as Shivs, 2x4 planks, baseball bats, pipes, machetes, and hatchets. The Molotov Cocktail and the nail bomb are the 2 types of throwable weapons that are available. Smoke bomb. It would seem that the smoke bomb was constructed using either a loincloth or a brown paper bag that was filled with sugar and explosives. It is completely harmless and will not cause any harm. Instead, human enemies that are inside the blast's radius will be shocked if they are in this area. Additionally, it may be used in 2 different ways to facilitate a person's successful evasion of hostile forces. First, the smoke bomb may be used to conceal one's location from human enemies, making it easier to flee danger situations. Second, if they are infected inside the radius of an explosion caused by a smoke bomb, it will prohibit clickers from using their echolocation abilities. When they are cornered by enemies, Joel and Ellie have the option of using a smoke bomb as a method of evasion and escape. Because they cannot see Joel, his human enemies will think twice before attacking him. This strategy is successful provided that the smoke bomb is still active and Joel is hidden in the haze. After then, the player has the option of using the smoke as cover while launching an attack, which may facilitate a simpler battle. If Joel stands too near to the bomb, he runs the risk of being shocked by it. The smoke bomb may be upgraded with the use of training manuals. This can not only make the smoke linger for a longer period of time, but it can also extend the blast radius of the smoke bomb. The infected are attracted to the smoke that is produced by the explosion, and even though they are incapable of listening or comprehending the player, they are still able to detect other sounds such as gunfire and other disturbances. In addition, it seems as if they become immobile if they are trapped inside the direct explosion radius. When the player is trying to get away from the suburbs but needs more time to do it, this is the best moment to employ this ability. Assault Rifle. As a result of its rapid fire mode, the assault rifle is one of the least effective weapons in the game due to quick consumption of ammo it causes. The fact that this weapon can do so much damage and has such a powerful stopping ability, however, makes taking the risk well worth it. The assault rifle is so powerful that it can easily demolish even the most dangerous enemies in the game. In light of the foregoing, it is not hard to comprehend why a lot of people like using this weapon, in spite of the fact that it devours ammunition at an alarming rate. The assault weapon is used by both the soldiers and the Salt Lake City Fireflies for the whole of the game. As a result, we consider assault rifle in the list of the late game Last of Us Part 1 best weapons. While confronted by the military on his way out of Boston, Joel is unable to get one. But near the end of the game, while he is invading St. Mary's Hospital to save Ellie from Jerry Anderson and Marlene, he has the opportunity to do so. It is the only fully automatic weapon that can be obtained in single player and is dropped by most Fireflies. The player has the capacity to carry up to 90 bullets in total, each of which may take up to 30 rounds. When playing on a level higher than hard, ammunition becomes more difficult to collect. The player can only obtain 9 to 15 rounds every pickup, but on lesser difficulties, they may receive 30 rounds per pickup. The assault rifle is capable of firing in a fully automatic mode. On the other hand, doing so significantly bolsters its ability to propagate. Therefore, semi-automatic or burst fire is preferable since it is more accurate and saves ammo. Burst firing is also more efficient. Flamethrower. The fact that the trigger is built out of a bicycle brake lever reveals that the flamethrower was crafted in an unprofessional manner. The fuel comes from a little red propane tank that is attached to the base of the structure. The flamethrower struggles from a restricted range. By increasing its efficiency and spreading it farther, increasing its range puts more space between the user and their targets, which lowers the chance that they will be injured or attacked. Joel discovers one on a loading bay at the University of Eastern Colorado, which leads him to believe that a freshman was one who made and used it. In the event that players are unable to discover it here, there is another one that may be found next to a group of runners on the ground level of a neighboring building. Due to the fact that players must fight the infected at some point, the location of the weapon provides an opportunity for them to practice using it. It is quite powerful against infected, and it can swiftly get rid of a bloater. However, unlike the Molotov Cocktail, it does not cause damage from splashing. It just takes one strike to kill human enemies, and even a little exposure to the flame is enough to burn them completely, making them unable to fight back before they pass out from the heat. When discussing close quarters weapons that pack a significant impact on the heat of battle, it is difficult to avoid bringing up the Flamethrower. If all goes according to plan, a single blast from this weapon will be enough to destroy any enemies that may be causing trouble for Joel or Ellie. Because there are so few chances to utilize this weapon, players should make every effort to make it as successful as they can whenever they have the chance. The fact that it is difficult to operate is not nearly as significant as the enormous harm it does, which more than makes up for whatever inconvenience that may be caused by its usage. Shorty. The Shorty is a handgun that was converted from a shotgun by being chopped down. The sewers in the suburbs are location where you may find this weapon. The Shorty does not offer a long range, but since it is a shotgun that has been converted into a pistol, it performs exceptionally well at close quarters. Even while the Shorty doesn't seem to be particularly good at first usage, it has the potential to become a favorite after being improved to have increased range, decreased recoil, bigger clip size, greater spread, and quicker reload time. After triggering off the first noise trap, the Shorty may be discovered in the sewers during the chapter titled The Suburbs on a bench that is located to the left of the entrance. After Joel is cut off from the rest of the gang, another one of them may be discovered on an infected person. It has magazine capacity of just 2 rounds by default, however this may be increased all the way up to 6 rounds with various upgrades. The rounds that are used for the shotgun are not compatible with the Shorty. During the final confrontation that takes place in the suburbs between Joel and Ellie, several of the hunters may be seen wielding this weapon as they assault Henry, Sam, and Ellie via the scope of Joel's sniper rifle. This is only known instance in which hunters make use of this weapon. Throughout the remainder of the game, it may be seen being carried by a variety of enemies including bandits, cannibals, and fireflies. Revolver. The revolver is one of Joe's most common and often utilized weapon during the course of the game. It makes its debut in the prologue section of the game. On the other hand, you won't be able to use the gun until you make it to the outskirts. It is somewhat more difficult to operate than the pistol, but it does much more damage overall. However, it has a smaller capacity for ammunition. While you are moving about, the revolver will have a significant influence on its accuracy. Keeping stationary, on the other hand, enables you to take precise shots from a respectable distance away. On the grounded difficulty settings, the revolver has a high chance of killing people without armor in a single shot. The first time the revolver is shown in the game is when it is used by Joel Miller to put an end to Jimmy Cooper. This was Joel's private handgun, which he kept hidden in a cabinet in his Austin home. Later on, when Sarah has sustained an injury, he hands it over to Tommy so that he may carry her. Tommy used the pistol to murder a soldier to rescue Joel. In addition, Joel makes use of weapon using a few unusual situations in which he has an endless supply of ammunition, such as when he is trapped in a snare trap. Nail bomb. Players get access to some of the most powerful explosive weapons in the game, including the nail bomb, which they may construct for themselves. When thrown, this craftable weapon generates a massive explosion that does significant damage and renders most enemies helpless. It goes without saying that wielding a nail bomb in a battle is quite gratifying, considering how easy it is to create this weapon in the first place. After this destructive grenade has knocked out its opponents, players have the opportunity to take their time selecting targets for their attacks. Nail bomb is easily the Last of Us Part 1 best weapons under the throwables category. The player is entrusted with the possession of an explosive device known as the nail bomb by Bill. Blades and explosives are used in the process of making it. Because it can function either as a fully fledged grenade or as a fairly rudimentary landmine, it is very useful in almost any circumstance. Because of its large radius, it may easily be employed to eliminate large number of enemies. After Bill gives Joel a nail bomb to use inside St. Paul's Church, the first time the nail bomb can be obtained is by the player. After acquiring it, the user may proceed to make it their own. Landmines known as nail bombs are designed to detonate only in the presence of an enemy. Due to the fact that they are constructed out of blades and explosives that can be found all around the game, they have the appearance of a can with protruding sharp items. They may be thrown in the air or set down. When they are thrown, the bombs emit a noise which might draw infected enemies as well as human enemies closer to them. The bomb will go off as soon as any hostile forces get inside its blast radius. The damage dealt by nail bomb is sufficient to eliminate all of the enemies in the game with a single explosion, with the exception of bloaters. The nail bomb's area of impact may be expanded with the use of manuals that can be obtained later on in the game. Ellie is likewise capable of making nail bombs, but at a more laborious pace than Joel. In addition, tripwired nail bomb traps may be discovered all around the many cities that the protagonists travel through, most notably in Lincoln and Pittsburgh. Molotov Cocktail. The Molotov Cocktail is a lifesaver when it comes to challenging enemies, particularly when they are grouped together. It is ideal for us from a distance to tackle different enemies such as clicker and bloaters. Any clickers that are in the vicinity at the time of the toss will immediately race towards the sound and then right into the fire. If the infected are still alive after being exposed to fire, you should rapidly finish them out with a headshot. If the player doesn't keep a safe distance from their enemies while using Molotov cocktails, they risk being burned by the flames. A cloth and some kind of alcoholic beverage are required to make a Molotov cocktail, much as they are in the making of a first aid kit. A Molotov is a kind of weapon that may be created by combining an alcohol bottle with a rag. Because it is a weapon that uses fire, Molotov is excellent at turning enemies, whether they are infected or not, into jerky. Even if you are unsuccessful, the infected will still look for the disruption because of the noise. If an infected person walks over the rigging fire that the Molotov cocktail has generated, they will catch fire and die a horrible death. The weapon is very effective when used against the difficult to kill bloaters. Bloaters are made vulnerable to other weapons since their thick fungal armor is burned away by these weapons, and when used as a thrown weapon, they do not give away one's location. In addition to this, enemies that are screaming will attract other infected to their location. Molotov cocktails are effective area denial weapons because any opponent that comes into touch with the pool of the fire left behind by the explosion of Molotov cocktail will catch fire and be destroyed instantaneously. Hatchet. Hatchet is one of the greatest melee weapons that can be used in The Last of Us Part 1, which has a wide variety of these weapons. It is not difficult to get a hatchet, and it is possible to improve it with other materials such as scissors or tape that may be found along the way. Even though the machete and hatchet deal about the same amount of damage, the hatchet wins in this competition because of its superior durability. Although each weapon is capable of killing an opponent with a single blow, the hatchet is far more durable. Hatchet is the last etched weapon that may be discovered immediately before leaving the abandoned town of Ish in the sewers. It is also the second rarest melee armament in our list of The Last of Us Part 1 best weapons to obtain, after the machete, so you should only use it occasionally. The machete is the rarest weapon to acquire. The hatchet, in contrast to unmodified blunt weapons, is a one-hit kill weapon. This means that irrespective of the circumstances, hitting an enemy with the hatchet will result in an immediate kill, with the exception of bloaters. It has the fourth highest durability in the game, behind only the baseball bat, Ellie's switchblade, and the pipe. It also has the second highest durability of any bladed weapon. On the other hand, it is also able to be altered to withstand up to 8 blows after cracking. This implies that it will be the most powerful weapon in the game since it is a one-shot kill and you may use it 8 times. Even though the pipe has a resilience of 12 hits when it is completely improved, it contains 3 immediate kills and 3 additional probable kills, all of which are not instant, for a total of 6 kills. The hatchet is far more durable than the machete, yet it has a somewhat slower swing speed and a slightly slower rate of kill, which makes it somewhat more difficult to employ. On the other hand, given that it retains a high level of durability, gamers often choose to make use of it rather than the machete. In addition to this, it is not as difficult to locate as the machete. Shiv. The Shiv is a weapon that serves a variety of purposes. It allows you to sneak up on infected and murder them, particularly powerful against clickers. Having said that, it does become useless after a certain amount of use, so exercise extreme caution if you plan on depending on it. Because they are made from gathered objects, they are easily accessible, which helps to make up for the fact that they are weapons with just one use. As they are not very effective in combat, it is recommended that you use them for assassinations attempts instead. They also perform the essential duty of protecting players from assaults by clickers, which is so vital in and of itself that the Shiv immediately shoots to the very top of the list of The Last of Us Part 1 best weapons. The Shiv is one of the first objects that players have the opportunity to acquire in the game. There are 3 Shivs that may be completely crafted that can be discovered in the environment while exploring Boston. Even though Joel Miller is unable to wield a shiv during normal combat, he is able to momentarily grasp one of it as the last item selected from the crafting menu. Characters like Tess, Marlene and Henry, who are allies who are not controlled by the player, use shivs to kill enemy survivors. The hunter who confronts the player in the Pittsburgh suburbs is the sole antagonistic character that attacks with the shiv. The player will meet him there. When first constructed, a shiv using Caesar is only good for one use before it snaps. By amassing a collection of instruction manuals, one may increase the number of functions that a shiv has. Shivs may be used to dispose of enemies in a stealthy manner more quickly than by strangling them, or they can be used to open doors referred to as shiv doors. Because clickers cannot be strangled when they are seized, a shiv is required to put an end to their lives. Bloaters have thick fungal plate armor and are quite large, which makes it impossible to destroy them with this method. Once Joel has acquired the Shiv Master improvement, he will be able to defend himself from clickers' attacks by stabbing them with the Shiv. On the other hand, if they grasp him from behind, they are immune to being stabbed. When playing on easy mode, Shiv Master is immediately unlocked and completely paid for, making Shiv defense immediately accessible. Pump Shotgun. In general, shotguns provide a sense of accomplishment when used in video games, and The Last of Us Part 1 is not an exception to this norm. Because of its insanely powerful stopping ability, the pump shotgun is easily one of the finest weapons in the game, making it one of the strongest overall weapons as well. Players who start to depend on this weapon should be aware of the pump shotgun's sluggish rate of fire and reload time before they start to use it too often. This weapon packs a punch like a sledgehammer. Regardless, those who like strong weapons with a relatively close range will have the time of their life with this weapon while playing the game. The shotgun is a pump-action shotgun of the basic kind, and it may be obtained from Bill in the safe house. It is a regular pump-action shotgun, so it's noisy, it's fun to shoot, and it's really effective at close quarters. It's quite effective in halting enemies in their tracks if they attempt to rush, with the obvious exception of bloaters. The magazine has an initial capacity of 4 shells, however this may be increased to a maximum of 8 by using a workshop to make the necessary modifications. There are other modifications available for the reload speed, firing rate, recoil and range of the weapon. The barrel and receiver of the shotgun are built of a metal substance, while the stock and forend of the shotgun are crafted out of a hardwood furniture. If Joel is holding his shotgun when he moves in for a melee attack against an enemy, the stock may be utilized to strike the enemy. However, he only gives it one swing before switching back to using his fists. El Diablo. The El Diablo is one-shot revolver that, owing to its tremendous range, may turn you into a lethal killing machine for its hostile human NPCs and runners. However, you had best not miss it, since it takes long time to reload this weapon, rendering it very useless in most circumstances, similar to how the hunting rifle operates. However, if you have even a moderate amount of aim, this weapon has the potential to save your life. The weapon has the potential to kill enemies with a single hit. However, this does vary depending on the level of difficulty and the kind of enemy. The tiny devil may be used to mow down enemies from a safe distance. However, its usefulness against bloaters is questionable, but it can be used to great effect against other enemies. After the events that take place with Henry and Sam, the El Diablo is first discovered on the dead body that can be located next to the first abandoned automobile soon after arriving at the hydroelectric power plant. In the event that the player did not get it at the time, it is still possible to do so inside the shack that is located outside the entrance of the facility itself, as well as one more in Tommy and Maria's quarantine zone next to the workbench. It only takes 2 bullets from the El Diablo, making it one of the most powerful weapons in the game. A bloater may be killed using this weapon. This is counterbalanced by the restricted capacity of weapon and the rarity of its ammo. The El Diablo is most powerful handgun that can be found in The Last of Us Part 1's world. The potent handgun can eliminate the majority of targets with just a few bullets or less in most situations. There is, however, a note of caution that you should be aware of. El Diablo is required to reload this weapon after each and every shot. This can be enhanced with the subsequent upgrades, but even without a bigger clip capacity, the pistol deals more damage in a single shot than the majority of the weapons in the game easily. This is because pistol has a higher damage per clip than the other weapons. Hunting Rifle. The hunting rifle may save your life quite literally, and it packs one heck of a punch when you find it for the first time in the Capitol building. The hunting rifle is both powerful and precise, making it ideal for eliminating clickers with only one shot. Nevertheless, the magazine capacity of the weapon is somewhat limited. Take caution in your aiming. After Tess has sacrificed herself to give them more time, Joel is the one who first discovers the hunting rifle. He takes it from a dead firefly that was located on the second floor of the Capitol building. However, since it is a bolt-action rifle, it takes a very long time to reload. Despite the fact that it is a highly powerful and accurate weapon, when it was first discovered, there was just one bullet inside and there was no magazine. On the other hand, this is something that can be improved upon. This is without a doubt the greatest and most powerful ranged weapon available, and when coupled with sight, rounds that can penetrate armor, and a clip that holds 3 shots, it may make chopping off heads a messy and entertaining form of amusement. You can improve the performance of this gun at the workshop, increasing the clip capacity, reducing the amount of time required to reload, adding a sight, and enhancing the power are all possible upgrades for it. Because of the weapon's ability to penetrate armor, it is particularly effective when used against armored opponents such as troops wearing ballistic vests and bloaters covered with fungal plates. The weapon, if completely improved, will always kill with a single shot to the body of human enemies, even against armored enemies, and will only need a single headshot to kill clickers. This weapon, in its current state, is not capable of instantaneously killing an armored human being. 9mm Pistol. The players start off their game with a 9mm pistol as their initial weapon acquisition. It has the highest degree of dependability, and within the regular difficulty level, ammunition is not hard to come by. As a customary, headshots are the most effective method, although 2 to 3 body shots are well enough to kill the majority of humans and infected runners until later in the game, when humans will be equipped with body armor. When it comes to Last of Us Part 1, the 9mm pistol should be your primary weapon of choice. When compared to other type of guns, it has an abundant supply of ammunition and is easy to aim, even for novice shooters. Headshots from this weapon are quite effective against runners. It can take 2 or 3 attempts to defeat an armored enemy. Any workshop may be used to upgrade a 9mm pistol. Players may improve their reload speed, clip capacity, and firing rate at this location by using spare components that they have acquired throughout the game. A significant number of opponents that Joel and Ellie confront are armed with 9mm pistols. Even though they are less threatening than those armed with rifles and shotguns, those armored with long-range weapons are more deadly than those armed with melee weapons. Therefore, extreme care is still advised. It is one of the most frequent guns in the campaign, and it is the first weapon that Joel acquires in the game. It was stolen by Joel and Tess as they prepared to locate Robert, and it was one of the most common rifles in the campaign. Ellie is able to effectively offer cover for Joel whenever they are confronted by attackers because of the Beretta Model 7 Jaguar that Joel subsequently provides to her in Pittsburgh under the pretext that it is just for emergencies. He says this to Joel. It is also used by Ellie when the players take control of her in the chapters of Left Behind that takes place at Lakeside Resort and in the mall. Bow. The bow is by far the best weapon in The Last of Us Part 1 when it comes to stealth, offense, and much more. It is a deceptively simple yet extremely lethal weapon. It is possible to kill most enemies with a single shot, frequently without needing to aim for the head, although it takes some effort to do it correctly. Ellie's bow is not very precise, but it does not make a sound and is quite efficient for one shot kill. It was first discovered in Bill's booby-trapped tiny town. Simply hide behind whatever is in front of you and strike at your enemies without being spotted. A further advantageous aspect of the bow is that, in contrast to bullets, it is possible for players to reclaim lost arrows from either fallen enemies or failed shots, provided that they have sufficient time to do so. This is particularly important given the much lower availability of arrows in comparison to bullets. The bow is an essential tool for survival in any situation where ammunition is in short supply, since it may be used to fire reusable projectiles projectiles like arrows. However, there is a possibility that the arrows may shatter, leading the players to lose these arrows. When used against enemies that are ignorant of the presence of the player, arrows deliver much greater damage. If human enemies without armor as well as runners and stalkers are unaware of the player's presence, it usually only takes one shot to kill them, provided that the shot hits either the body or the head. This is true even if the player is wearing armor. Clickers, in contrast to most other enemies, can only be destroyed with a headshot from your weapon. However, because of the fungal armor that the bloaters possess, doing so will often cause the arrows to shatter. This also applies to firing at bloaters. Despite this, arrows may do harm to bloaters, but only if the fungal plates on their heads, which are significantly more fragile, are first damaged. Therefore, in order to kill a bloater with a bow, you need to make at least 4 shots to the head. Verdict: there is a limited supply of ammo for Ellie and Joel in the post-apocalyptic world of The Last of Us Part 1, and the players may only carry a modest amount of ammunition at any time, making it difficult to conserve. Long guns and pistol make up the two distinct categories of firearms that make up an inventory. That is why we have listed 14 Last of Us Part 1 best weapons containing small, long guns and throwables that you should rely on to dominate most encounters with later troubles. That's a wrap for this video. We upload videos daily over here at Exputer, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Until then, see you later and goodbye.